Wow, welcome to our segment on Old Town Mariposa. Look how beautiful this town is. I love Old Town Mariposa, and my good friend Bob Borchard let me sit in today and kind of lead us through this talk. Bob, welcome. And
how are you?
Our guest, Lloyd Hobby.
Yes, sir.
Now, you've been around Mariposa a bit.
50 years this year,
yeah.
Just completing.
But you worked at the high school for what, 40 something?
46 years. I worked at the high school as a teacher, athletic director, and coach.
When did you become athletic director? What?
1964.
And we should clarify, that's Mariposa High School, the only high school, still the only high school.
In the county.
In the whole county?
In the whole county.
Wow.
And probably the oldest high school in this whole region.
Yeah. Well, it was formed in what year?
1914.
1914. So it's having its centennial celebration this year.
Right. This is the year.
And just to put a little fluff on this, this is a very special guest. Lloyd Hobby is a legend in Mariposa. He has taken the athletic program in Mariposa County to some extraordinary heights. And it was because of his effort, his leadership over the last few years. He's retired now, and he's passed the baton to a gentleman who can't be here today because he's in training. But the
new athletic director, though, was your student.
One of my students.
I love when a high school, the students grow up.
Both of them are my students.
And they come back, and you turn it over to the next generation.
And that's part of our pride.
We have some really honorable students in Lloyd's. We have a guy who was a congressman.
George Radanovich.
He will be inducted in our Hall of Fame on Saturday.
Yeah, he played some sport. Football. He's a big
football
guy.
Player, yeah.
And of course there's this little guy from New England, Mankins.
Yeah, Logan.
Wow. He played at Mariposa.
Yes, he was at Mariposa before he became a Fresno State Bulldog.
I never caught that.
And Stephen Spock had played with him at Mariposa for a while, and he played here as well. So we've had.
Well, let me ask you about this school.
Sure.
So in about must have been 1914. There was no high school in Mariposa.
No.
And they voted to have one.
Barely
passed. And they committed a lot of money for it, though.
Yeah, $2,500.
$2,500. But there was only 7, 8, 9 students the first year.
Yes.
They met at the Presbyterian Church.
Yes.
For a year or two. You weren't around then. I'm looking at you like,
hey,
remember when that happened?
Almost, but not quite.
And then they moved to another building that I think is still there in downtown.
Yes.
Yeah, I forget the name of that building.
Presbyterian Church.
Yeah.
And then they finally got around to building a school.
Amen.
Now, is this the school? We have a picture here. Is this the...
Well, that's the original building. It's modified now where you have in the center part that would be extended up, and there's a large auditorium there if you read some of the history that
So that's the first building,
that's the first
and it's still there. Oh, my goodness.
Parts of it are still right
Pieces
there.
of it. But that's classic. I love it when a town keeps its tradition alive. But it's the same location then.
Exactly.
I did never realize. I never thought of that it would be in the same location all those years.
Yeah.
We have an old yearbook photo. Now, putting you on the spot like you're the historian, you're the athletic director, but there's these great pictures from Mariposa. I bet some of these people are,
the names we remembered off of their documents that have their names with the photos. We recognize many of the family names that are still existing.
This is truly one of those multi-generational high schools.
Definitely so.
Parents go, the kids go, the next generation goes.
Definitely.
And here's one of the early classes. I don't think they're...
One of the things that I noticed in these old photographs, I was going through them yesterday, is that there were mostly girls in the class. There were very few boys. And so from an athletic tradition standpoint, it's difficult to field teams for sports. And so Lloyd has some interesting statistics about the boys' teams. They formulated teams with a little different constituencies.
Well, we did when we first came there, and you're seeing pictures of some of these teams in the 30s that we obviously have from old yearbooks. But when I arrived there in '64, we actually had 6 teams only, three sports: football, basketball, baseball for boys only. Have diversified
golf
and golf and all the things we can provide. Although we are short on facilities, our kids are in a hardship situation. We used to play football at the fairgrounds in the rodeo arena to have a space. We've moved that to the high school in the last couple of years. And
you have the games there at the rodeo arena?
Oh yes,
we had the lights and everything. So
Destruction Derby the night before.
we were riding up here this afternoon, and Lloyd brought up a really interesting statistic about the school's championship games, and
because there's been 100 years of the school.
Right.
So the first 50.
First 50, we weren't quite as successful as we were in the last 50. And of course, Lloyd had a lot to do with that. But what was that demographic?
But the numbers are interesting. The 16 championships versus 119 in the last 50. But
so the first 50 had 16, like
one
every
right.
2 or 3 years.
But as you look at the ages of the people that started high school in 1914, there's not a lot of them around to testify to how many games they won either. So we're limited in materials. So
the second 50 years, you had how many then?
119 total,
goodness.
12 section championships.
That's like 2 a year.
And the important part of that, though, as I told Bob, is not that we won the games. It's what that developed in that little high school and the pride that keeps people coming back like they will be this Saturday, and the unity that they maintain and the relationships we still have with them after 40, 50 years. It's an important thing that winning does that for a small community that has not got a lot of other avenues of entertainment, et cetera, but the kids come from the whole county, and it welds them together. The hardship welds them together. The lack of facilities, the lack of funding, all of that makes them stronger, and they do wonderful things.
And what is happening this Saturday?
Saturday is the Hall of Fame dinner. It's our 14th, which is where we induct scholar athletes first. We give scholarship away every year to a boy and a girl. We've been doing that for 14 years. We've put in over $150,000 in scholarship money so far. And we are using the Hall of Fame as an attraction to bring the people to the dinner to raise the funding to promote those scholarships. So that's on Saturday night at the fairgrounds.
And who will you induct this year? Are they big names?
Well, they are to us. We have the football team in 1972, which was an outstanding team. We have a young man named Jeff Revis, who is a great baseball pitcher for us. And there we have a community member, which we always involve, somebody who's contributed outside, a fellow named Walt Butler, who has coached, who's filmed, who's done all the gopher work for us for years and years and years. And we do have exciting people that do help us, for sure.
Well, we've got to talk about another event. Anything else on this event?
Well, I thought maybe we've been doing some interesting things, and we have a new logo for the team that celebrates our 150 years or 100 years of.
It is that a Grizzly?
Tradition. That's a Grizzly.
So it's the Mariposa Grizzlies.
Right. It used to be in the 30s. It was the Mariposa Butterflies.
But I want to hammer back for a minute on where, when, how they get tickets. If somebody's watching, people watch this from all over the world,
Sure.
really. So
Well,
they
you
might
can
be from
buy
Mariposa and want to come
tickets
back.
in Mariposa at the Mariposa Gazette, the feed store in town, and we have tickets available through all the members of the board at the high school, and they can buy them at the door when they come in.
This Saturday,
This
June
Saturday,
21st.
June 21st.
Sometimes this runs as a
Starts
rerun,
at
but-
6 p.m.
So if you're watching this after the 21st, you missed
too
it.
late,
But
yeah.
This Saturday, June 21st.
And I'm here to tell you, we have one more guest, Logan Mankins, and he's not going to be able to make it to the dinner, but he's going to be there in spirit.
Okay.
Okay, and we have another thing going on this weekend, and maybe if I could go off, we have our music on the green on the weekend.
Music on the Green, yeah.
It's a big thing.
Is that every weekend?
Every weekend throughout the summer now.
Okay.
We'll be doing that, and it's in the art park down in downtown Mariposa, Old Town Mariposa. And Saturday we have a hometown group who have a bunch of new material. They're recording artists, and they're just fantastic. They play at the Coin once in a while. DeWitt and Franklin. Glenn Franklin and Bill DeWitt are fantastic musicians. They've written some amazing songs. These happen to be they're the sons of two famous legends in Mariposa. Bob DeWitt was a very famous person in Mariposa. Started a strong music movement, and I think people down the valley have probably heard of Cousin Jack. Anybody who's been up in that country, but Jack Franklin, Bill Franklin's Glenn Franklin's son, is his son. This weekend we also have Pathetic Honey, a group out of the Bay Area. They
Also
are
Music on the Green.
Music on the Green, and they play original country music, and they're great, great music.
Now, what time will that be?
This starts at 7:30, and it usually wraps up about 9:30, 10.
Which day?
Saturday.
Saturday night, 7:30. Come at 7. Do you bring your picnic lunch or something, or dinner?
You can bring dinner, drinks. You can drop by the Coin, and we'll make you a box lunch.
Drop by Bet's Gold Coin, and they'll fix you a box lunch to take out there. That's what I would do, because the food's there. It's good there.
Well, I like it.
Yeah, you like it. And so maybe go there at 7:30, and now for some reason, we've heard a lot of Mariposa music here on the Central Valley Buzz. It's always extraordinary. I don't know, there's something in the water up there or something.
That's why we have such amazing sports teams.
It's the water.
It's the water. Well, listen, our guests, I'm their guest. This is Mariposa. This is downtown Mariposa. Bob Borchert from Brett's Gold Coin, and Lloyd Hobby, who is athletic director forever, since they first opened the school.
Not quite.
Now retired.
Now retired, but you're still active. You still help out.
Definitely do.
Get out there this weekend, Mariposa. A lot of great things.